Hello guys, NautoAis here, and I want to give this announcement from EastAsiaSoft. And yeah, it's been a month late, but it is what it is. Kind of forgot about it, so now I'm just doing it now because I do want to give my thoughts about this particular showcase. So EastAsiaSoft did a 20-second showcase, and they revealed two games that's actually from Idea Factory International, but EastAsiaSoft will be publishing this one. It is what it is. Sometimes Idea Factory will not publish all the game that was in Japan. I mean, it is what it is. How it works is, if someone else publish, they get some cut, but then they let other people do the localization or whatever. It is what it is. It is a business. But with that said, so in this particular showcase, to reveal from Idea Factory. So first of all, Tokyo Clan Pool, an old game from the PlayStation Vita, never came out outside of Japan because just like the Monster series, to some extent, by the time they were released in Japan, I think the Vita was already dead in the West. Not a lot of people were buying the Vita. One of the biggest problems, of course, is the proprietary for the memory card. Too expensive, but it had a potential as a portable console, but it is what it is there. So a lot of these Idea Factory games never came out outside of Japan. Of course, in the past, like I said, the Monster More collection, and then now Tokyo Clap is another one. Downside is, to some extent, this will be a Nintendo Switch exclusive. It will not be in the PlayStation console because, like I said before, it was already on the Vita. And there were even talks about some of this game, like how come this older game on the Switch, but not on the PlayStation 4? And there was a rumor that Idea Factory Compile Heart said, well, the game did come out on a PlayStation console, which is the Vita, and for them to basically port it to the PlayStation 4, well, unfortunately, it's probably the same reason of why Mary Skelter 2 will not ever be in the PlayStation 4 no matter what, even though it's already out in Japan. Data Live, Ren Dysposia, as of right now, no plans of being in the PlayStation 4. Of course, the Rebirth series Part 2 and Part 3 will not be in the PlayStation console in the West. I don't know what's going on. All suddenly, that Idea Factory disliked PlayStation. Well, rumor has it, and yes, I am going to a bit of a side note here, that I did talk about this, that in Idea Factory Compile Heart, there were a lot of new managership, new people running the place, and that the rumor was that the person in charge was not really happy with PlayStation, and you can probably obviously see why. During, of course, 2018 to 2020, the censorship, they had to modify the game to a point that all future games had to be censored, or some people call it pre-censored, before even releasing on any console. And there have been a lot of rumbling that a lot of the games were toned down because of Sony. Possibly, who knows? But yeah, so this is one of the older games, so probably there's going to be some sort of fan service, and that's why. And like I said, it was already being released in a PlayStation console in Japan. Remember, Idea Factory, Compile Heart, to some extent, like Falcom, they don't prioritize international market to some extent. Like, it's second fiddle for them. They'll do it in their home country, and then if people want it outside, well, think about it. You might have to wait probably a long while. The gap's going to be big. It is what it is there. So, yeah, so Tokyo Clan finally going to be in the Switch and also Steam as an alternative. So, there you go. PlayStation, probably not, never. Like I said, rumor has it that the people who worked on Idea Factory Compile Heart are not really PlayStation support, not really supportive on PlayStation, but of course you can see why, the politics. So another game that also wasn't out, but this one actually I think did come out in the West and in a PlayStation console, and that is Hakioki Chronicles of the Wind and Blossom. So I think this game came out in multiple consoles, if I remember. I know Steam, PlayStation, definitely, if I remember. I don't really play Otome game. This was actually an older one. So if you wonder how come Idea Factory International didn't talk about this, the game was already out a long time ago. I think this is just a re-release now on Switch. So in the case with Tokyo Clan Pool, it was on the Vita, and that wasn't only in Japan. Hakioki, especially in particular this one, Chronicles of the Wind and Blossom, was actually released in multiple console. So another one there. Again, this is a Atomic game, not a hack and slash. Yet there are spin-off of a Hakuyu game that it is an action game. There are. I think there's one in the PlayStation Portable, if I remember. But this one that they showed in the EastAsiaSoft Showcase number 22, it's an Atomic game, a visual novel. So there you go. But again, if you missed this and you have a Switch, there you go. And like I said, a lot of the games from Design Factory are Switch exclusive because of the portability. How come they're not doing it on Steam? They don't know how to develop games on Steam. Every time that happens, believe it or not, it's actually Idea Factory International to some extent. And another side note is if you're wondering how come some of these games are not being released on Steam now lately, rumor has it that the people that were in charge of porting the game on Steam left. So not a lot of people have the knowledge to do it, and you kind of see there why. So what happened if your employees who are an expert of porting left and you don't have anyone to do it? You see there. Kind of like why there's no Soul Calibur 7, because no one can champion it to guarantee sales. Or why there's no new Killer Instinct, because Microsoft said they don't have someone to do it. So unless you have someone who can champion and able to port a lot of these Idea Factory games to some extent on Steam, you're out of luck. So, I mean, like I said, granted, Tokyo Clampool is also going to be on Steam, so at least Steam achievement there. So there you go, 2 games that's going to come out in the West. One's already been out, finally on the Nintendo Switch. Hakuyo Chronicles of Wind and Blossom. Tokyo Clampool finally in the West, coming this fall, Switch and Steam. So you want to push it for the PlayStation 4? Well, send a message to EastAsiaSoft. Send a message to Idea Factory Crumple Heart. To some extent, EastAsiaSoft probably just localized games. Developer, well, you got to talk to Crumple Heart, Idea Factory, just saying that. So there you go. Thoughts about that. I know I'm kind of late for this one, but I do want to talk about it because it is all related to Idea Factory franchise. So with that, I'll see you guys later.